On. Okay, perfect. So we
Hey.
can start. Good morning, Melanie.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. We have a beautiful guest today, and my assistant Kim decided to join us. When as soon as he heard that we will be talking about animals, he wanted to be part of it. So everyone, he's very short. Kim, this is Kim. That's why he's resting on my lap, so you don't see him all the time, but he's listening attentively. And Melanie Appleyard, our today guest. She's the emotional and well-being teacher and coach, and she's also author of incredible online program, Llama Meditation. And I have so many questions about this program, so hopefully I can learn more today about it. Welcome, Melanie.
Thank you, and welcome, Kim, as well. It's lovely to have her here. All animals welcome.
Thank you. Melanie, I wanted to ask you several things about resilience, and obviously what can we learn from animals in terms of our emotional well-being and health. Um, but before we get into that, I'd like to ask you, how did you develop this interest teaching children and parents about emotional well-being and the idea of learning from animals? It's totally unusual.
Right, it's quite a long story, really. I suppose I've always had an interest in emotional well-being because as a child I struggled from childhood anxiety myself. So when I became a teacher later on in life, I sort of had a natural affinity for children who struggled with anxiety. So I quickly took on a role of PSHE coordinator, which is personal, social, and health education, and then I became a special needs coordinator as well. And a large part of my role in that was working and supporting children who struggled with anxiety or any sort of mental health issues, really. I suppose the turning point came in 2013 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And at that point, I really had to reevaluate my life. I had to overcome lots of different emotions. So I had anxiety, grief, fear, and really think about what my interests were. I'd noticed I'd been working so hard that I'd sort of lost sight of who I was and what my interests were. So I got my little pup Daisy, and I really rediscovered my love of animals, which I'd always had being a child. I'd always wanted to work with animals. So I reconnected with that again. Then subsequently, when I went back to work, although I'd sort of realised what was really important in life and I wanted that balance, obviously the demands were still the same. So I struggled with anxiety again later on in life. And at that point, I went for some Reiki healing and I learnt mindfulness, and it just sort of catapulted from there. I ended up taking angelic Reiki courses and becoming a master teacher. So that, of course, is helping other people with their anxiety. And then what I realised when I went back to work is that mental health was hitting the roof with children. There seems to be such a huge rise in mental health difficulties and not enough services to support. And when I sat down and started thinking about my connection with animals and everything that you can learn from animals, and they've really got it, they really know how to deal with their emotions and how to relax. And it occurred to me that I could use these lessons to actually support children and adults with their mental health as well. And I suppose that's really how the birth of learning from animals came about.
Absolutely. You know what I just remembered? Recently, I started practicing TREAD, the trauma release exercise, which was
Mm.
invented by American psychiatrist that he observed animals, what they do, the dogs, I think that were just shaking off. And then he developed this technique of making your muscles shake in order to release the emotions or blockages in your body. And he was treating soldiers with PTSD, and then this technique spread out, and now a lot of people practice it. So it's really a great point of inspiration, and it works.
Mm. A lot of psychological theories have been based on animals. The attachment theory came from observing animals. Obviously, they observe rats in a lot of experiments to see how they behave. You've got Pavlov's dog. So there's just so much we can learn. And when you sort of watch them and you think about the character traits and behaviours, there really is a lot of magic there, a lot of gold dust.
And finally, it applies to humans, because yeah. The rats, they have totally different construct, and still those behaviors are being transferred into and applied to humans. That's really incredible if you think about it. Melanie, you thank you for sharing your story. It's absolutely incredible, and you've been through a lot, and obviously it made you a super resilient person. So, having that in mind, what is your personal understanding and definition of resilience?
Resilience is really about carrying on no matter what the circumstances. It's overcoming the hurdles just one step at a time and getting back up when you fall. Children are absolutely amazing. These, especially the children with special educational needs, never cease to amaze me. I think they're the most resilient people I know because although they struggle with the learning, they work so much harder to try and grasp the things that come easy to other people, and it's absolutely amazing. And I think one of the things with resilience is um, I'm trying to think how to phrase it. Sorry. Um, I think it's so important to future success in any career, and it's about learning to fail, if you like. It's about being able to recognize that it's okay to make mistakes and that you can learn from your mistakes. And through that, that's where the success comes. I think it's Edison who's often quoted when he invented the light bulb of saying, I didn't fail, I found 100 ways to get it wrong. And it's that attitude twist that really makes a difference in your life, and that forms the resilience.
Absolutely. So, taking one step at a time, that's what you've been through. That's what worked for you. Um, how does it translate when you work with your clients or with children or with parents? Can you give us any specific examples of how to take the struggles and obstacles, like how to implement that advice, taking one step at a time?
Um, I think it's about first of all your attitude, the mindset is absolutely huge. I think everybody gets struggles and challenges in life. That's how we learn, and that's what life's about, really. And the best way to deal with any challenge is to work with it and don't be a victim to it. It's sort of how you address it makes the difference. Challenges occur and you can't do anything about them, but how you actually relate to them and rise up to them really makes the difference. So if I'm working with children and they're struggling with a whole general area, it's well, let's look at it one step at a time. What's the specific thing that you're struggling with, and let's have a look at that first. And then once they start to experience success, then you move on to the next challenge. And the more they experience success, the more they're likely to accept other challenges going forward.
Hmm. I've been following your videos, your live videos, and you write blog as well. You write wonderful articles, and I love your consistency of the team. Like each month, you have a different animal, right? And you write, well, you say what we can learn from those animals, and it even though my background is psychology as well, but just having it through the lens and so much focus on animals, it brings a totally different quality, and I absolutely love it. And I wanted to ask about the meditation that you've created. It's actually an entire online program, right?
Yes, it's a 14-week program, but obviously the meditations can be revisited all the time as an ongoing thing. Um, It's a little bit different from most meditation programs because it's a full course and it's actually aimed at developing emotional intelligence and emotional literacy in children. So each week I'll choose a different animal. So, for example, a dog is widely known for friendships. So it's an opportunity to talk to the children about the qualities of the dog, what they notice about animals, and what qualities they can bring. Then they actually go into a little bit of role play to act as the animal, and that brings a lot of fun to it, a little bit of perspective taking, and it also burns off a bit of energy before the children go into meditation, because children are naturally, they have lots of energy. And then once they go into a meditation, that sort of guides them with the animal to look at that particular skill. So if they were working with the dog through the meditation, the dog would tell them how it's a good friend to others, and they'd have to listen. So in their mind, their inner self really is thinking about what are the qualities of a friendship, and then they're thinking about how they would be a good friend to others. So it's sort of tackling that area of emotional intelligence, but they're doing all the work internally themselves. So rather than an adult telling them, saying, well, you're a good friend if you do this, this, and this, the children are actually drawing those conclusions for themselves, which is a really powerful way of learning. And
Mm.
then following the meditation, they're able to then discuss those issues with the parents. And at the same time as learning all these emotional intelligence skills, they're actually learning to relax. They're learning to recognize what the body is doing so that they can identify their emotions when they're feeling them, know how to react to those emotions, and they've got the skills to calm themselves down very quickly if they're feeling excess emotions. So there's an awful lot really in the package, and there's affirmations that the children can repeat as well every day, which are really powerful for programming the mind for that positive mindset. So, and it's good fun. The children have done it. I've really enjoyed it.
That's great. And how about parents? Because you've mentioned this program is designed to work both from children as well as parents. So how do parents work with that program?
I had a message the other day from a parent actually. It was really good, and she just said, "Oh, we're being cats. This is good fun. This is awesome." So I think the parents love it too, and it's a great way to connect with the children and have fun and quality time together. And obviously, with parents, you're the prime teachers of children. You know what you do, children copy and follow. So if they see you having fun and meditating yourself, then they're more likely to get into that habit of meditating. So it's a good way to learn together.
Absolutely, yeah. It's absolutely fantastic. And uh, which animal is the best guide or the best example to deal with anxiety these days? We've been going through, lockdown and pandemic state, something totally different, and it evokes all different emotions, right? But
Mm.
primarily, there's a lot of fear and anxiety going on. So, which would be the recommended animal that we could learn from to deal with anxiety?
I think a dog is a really good example for that because they're just so mindful, and dogs are always in the moment. So, I know dogs might bark at the doorbell, they might sometimes be reactive on lead when you're going out, but it's only ever in that moment. They're aware of what they can see, they're smelling, hearing all the time, and they're constantly aware of their environment. And when they're relaxed, and they're really relaxed. And I think that is the key to, or a really strong key in reducing negative emotions, is to just be in the moment. If you're thinking about the past, quite often that's where you can become depressed and down. Quite often, if you're thinking about the future, you might be anxious about something that's coming up because we don't know the future. But when you're actually in the present moment and you're just thinking about the here and now, that can really bring you into a real positive state. And I think dogs are a great example of that.
Fantastic. Yeah, great. Yeah, that's how I also feel whenever I observe, like,
Mm.
my dog. And sometimes I, I look at him, he's just like lounging on the sofa, and I'm going, back to my computer to work, and I'm feeling so jealous.
Yeah. It's funny because Daisy, my dog, quite often in an evening, she wants to go out and she literally just goes out and lies on the grass. And she just looks so at peace and very grounded. And it's like, well, yeah, that's a really good example, you know. So just from watching your own pets, you can learn so much.
Exactly, exactly. And that teaches us, mindfulness as well. Just, observe the animals, and it's so easy and accessible.
Yeah.
Melanie, I remember when I've been going through difficult moments, and I didn't have a dog. I was living in the Middle East, and I was traveling a lot. And so I was going horse riding, and sometimes I wasn't even riding. I was just going to the stable to, be with the horses, to feed
Yeah.
them, to clean them. And I was just getting a lot of sense of like calmness, and a lot of clarity as well. So, from your perspective, what can we learn from the horses?
Um, Horses, I think, are very. There's a lot that we can learn from horses. Actually, they're very calm animals. Quite often, they're very aware of your emotions, and I think quite often how you're feeling, horses can sometimes reflect. They'll pick up on your anxiety, so that can really help you become aware of how you're feeling. But quite often, they can, like you say, reflect their emotions on you as well, which can be very calming. There's also a lot you can learn about horses in terms of when they're out, and they're just running. If you think about wild horses and they're just running, and the freedom that you can see with with those horses, and that sense of freedom that they can bring. Or horses are also a very um, helpful to people. They help other people. So if you need them to help you carry things, if you need them to take you somewhere, they've done work on the farm in the past. So they give you a sense of how um, horses can help people, but people can help people as well. So you've got that collaboration as well that you can learn from horses. So um, again, lots and lots of different things really that you can take from them.
That's wonderful.
And
Uh,
don't forget, being out in nature is also very relaxing. And when you go out with the horses, they're very
that's
much at
true.
peace with nature.
That's true. Um, Melanie, this entire situation of pandemic and lockdown has created a lot of awareness into um, human human-centric approach. Being focused on human needs in all different areas, in even in business. So personally, I think the role of wellness, of well-being, of emotional intelligence is going to play a huge role in the upcoming time.
Definitely, definitely.
Did you see that on your side as well? Is that how you see it?
Yeah, yeah, most definitely. I think one of the things with lockdown, I think there's going to be, and I know children are going to experience a lot of grief as well, and that grief will come from not only um, the loss of loved ones, if anyone's lost anybody through the coronavirus, but that separation from the friends, and they won't have seen the friends from some time, or family members they won't have seen for some time. So there's a sense of loss around that. And also, I think when they do go back to school and schools open up, things are going to be so different because they're not going to be able to have the same relationships with the friends. They're not going to be able to play in the same way or sit together in the same way. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of heightened emotions around that, and I think grief is going to be a big part of that too.
All right. What can parents do to assist children going through that process, and like making it easier on them?
I think talking to the children about this is going to be a big thing. I think social media, we've got such a great opportunity at the moment to connect with other people via Zoom or via other social media and FaceTime. And I think keeping that connection going is quite key. But also making sure you have plenty of fun, run around, play together. sort of connect with each other. It's a perfect time to really gel and connect and spend time with the loved ones. So I think quite often we are in a negative sort of, it can be seen as a negative situation, but it can also be seen as a positive situation. As I said before, when you come up with a challenge, it's how you deal with that challenge that makes the difference. So spend the time with the children, talk to the children, reduce what you're saying to the children as well, because for adults are also feeling scared by this, but if the children are seeing that they're scared by that and hearing conversations around the fear and hearing all the media on the news, then they're going to be scared too. So I think being mindful really of what the children are exposed to and just talking openly about those fears will really, really help with that. Sorry, I'm in the conservatory and it's hailstoning. I don't know whether you can hear
I thought so, yeah, it's like huge rain coming up.
Oh.
Good. Well, that brings us to the end of my questions. I got a lot out of you, unless if you would like to add anything when it comes to resilience and utilizing the knowledge that you're teaching, learning from animals into dealing with all different situations in life in general.
Sorry, I'm just turning the volume off. Hopefully it will stop soon.
Are you gonna get wet?
No, I'm fine. It's just very noisy on the conservatory.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, can you just say again what you said?
No, just the last thing, if you want to add up anything on learning from animals and when it comes to resilience. Any last words?
Just really think about what you can learn from animals. I mean, in terms of resilience, if you look at rodents, they're the greatest thing. I remember when a person who'd been with my husband, we had chipmunks, and they wanted to get a toilet roll tube in a little hole in the house, and the way they worked together to do that, to fold it, one stood at the top and one stood at the bottom, and they were working together to try and get it through. And I've seen the rats work together to try and open the treat jar, and they tried all sorts to get it open and couldn't. In the end, they were in like little drawers. One of them went behind and pushed while the other pulled so that they couldn't get to the treat. So, a lot of animals, if they want the food in the wilderness, then they've got to go out and find a way to get it and be adaptable. So I just think in terms of resilience, just there's so much to learn from animals for that. And there's a lot you can learn from animals about other aspects of well-being as well. If you look at cats, they're very proud, they believe in themselves. More people need to believe in themselves. Lions, they show strength and they face the fears, which again, quite often anybody can achieve what they want to achieve, but it's about being able to face your fears to get there. Dolphins, collaboration and fun. And I think the lessons from animals I know somebody asked a question on LinkedIn earlier about whether this could be used in the corporate world. Yeah. Absolutely, because emotional intelligence and the skills that you learn from that are so valuable in the workplace. And you find a lot of the leaders are the ones who are emotional intelligence. They have got that self-belief, they are able to face the fears, they are able to solve problems. So, lessons from animals can be taken to help anybody.
Absolutely, yeah, and thank you for remembering that. Actually, yes, we got that wonderful question yesterday on LinkedIn. So good you remembered. Perfect, Melanie. Thank you so much for this lovely interview, for sharing your knowledge, your expertise, and I will post the links on how to reach you, and your meditation is Llama Meditation, available on your website. And
available on my website, yeah. There is also a free guidebook that people can download that's got lots of hints and tips on how to support children with emotional well-being in there. So that's well worth.
And remind us on your website, what is it called?
It's www.learningfromanimals.co.uk.
Easy to remember, learning from animals. Melanie Appleyard. Melanie, thank you so much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you, and you too. Thanks everyone. Bye.